For more than 3 decades, one man has held the ultimate authority in Iran. Not the president, not the parliament, not the military generals. One man. While elections come and go, while governments shift and ministers disappear, the center of gravity has remained unchanged. Ali Khamenei. If you search for images of power, you might not immediately see him giving fiery speeches every day. You won't find him campaigning. You won't see dramatic television performances. Yet behind nearly every major decision inside Iran, from foreign policy to military action, his approval has been essential. And that is what makes his position so unique. He is not simply a political leader. He is a supreme leader, a role that combines religious authority with ultimate state control. In Iran's political system, this position outranks the president. The president manages government affairs. The supreme leader defines the direction of the nation. But how did one cleric become the most powerful figure in a country of over 80 million people? Ali Khamenei was born in 1939 in Mashhad, into a religious family. He studied Islamic theology and became part of the revolutionary movement against the Shah in the 1960s and 70s. During that time, he was imprisoned multiple times. Those years shaped his worldview. Resistance to Western influence, commitment to Islamic governance, and loyalty to revolutionary ideology. When the Iranian Revolution of 1979 overthrew the Shah, the country transformed into an Islamic republic. Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini became the supreme leader. Khamenei was not yet at the top, but he was inside the circle. In 1981, he became president. At the time, Iran was at war with Iraq. The country was under enormous pressure, militarily and economically. Those years hardened the leadership structure and centralized authority. Then, in 1989, Khomeini died. And that is when everything changed. Few expected Ali Khamenei to rise to the highest position. He was not considered the strongest religious authority. Some insiders doubted whether he had the theological credentials. But politics is rarely about expectation. He was selected, elevated, confirmed. And from that moment on, he became the axis around which Iranian power revolves. But what does that power actually look like? That's where the real story begins. To understand Ali Khamenei's influence, you must understand Iran's system. On paper, Iran has elections. It has a president. It has a parliament. It has political factions. From the outside, it may look like a hybrid system, part democratic, part religious. But above all of that stands the supreme leader. The supreme leader appoints the head of the judiciary. He appoints the commanders of the armed forces. He oversees state broadcasting. He influences the Guardian Council, the body that approves or disqualifies election candidates. This means no one rises to high office without indirect approval from the structure he oversees. Perhaps the most powerful institution connected to this system is the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or IRGC. The IRGC is not just a military branch. It is a political and economic force. It controls significant sectors of the Iranian economy. It manages foreign operations. It influences domestic security, and its leadership ultimately answers to the supreme leader. This creates a unique dynamic. The president manages policy implementation, but the supreme leader controls the strategic direction. That distinction has shaped Iran's relationship with the world. Under Khamenei's leadership, Iran has maintained a firm stance against U.S. influence in the region. Sanctions have intensified. Nuclear negotiations have come and gone. Regional alliances have expanded. Critics argue that this has isolated Iran economically. Supporters argue that it has preserved national sovereignty. But whether one views him as defender or hardliner, one thing is undeniable. He has survived politically, longer than most leaders in modern history. 3 decades, multiple protests, international pressure, internal power struggles. And yet, the structure remains intact. But power is never without challenge. And the next part of this story reveals where cracks began to appear. In 2009, mass protests erupted across Iran following disputed presidential election results. Millions took to the streets. The demonstrations became the largest since the revolution. The state responded firmly. For Khamenei, this moment was not simply about election results. It was about preserving the system itself. He publicly supported the declared outcome and warned against unrest. The protests eventually faded, but the memory remained. Years later, in 2019, and again in 2022, new waves of demonstrations emerged. Economic frustration, social restrictions, political dissatisfaction. Each time, the system responded with control measures. For outside observers, these events raised questions. Is the system stable long-term? Does generational change weaken centralized authority? Can ideological governance adapt to a digital age? Yet through every wave, the structure of leadership did not collapse. Khamenei's public appearances often emphasize themes of resistance, unity, and independence from foreign influence. His speeches frame domestic unrest within a larger geopolitical struggle. This narrative has helped maintain cohesion among loyal institutions. But time changes everything. Ali Khamenei is now in his mid-80s. And with age comes a question that shapes political futures. What happens after him? That question may be the most important unresolved issue in Iranian politics today. In 2009, mass protests erupted across Iran following disputed presidential election results. Millions took to the streets. The demonstrations became the largest since the revolution. The state responded firmly. For Khamenei, this moment was not simply about election results. It was about preserving the system itself. He publicly supported the declared outcome and warned against unrest. The protests eventually faded, but the memory remained. Years later, in 2019, and again in 2022, new waves of demonstrations emerged. Economic frustration, social restrictions, political dissatisfaction. Each time, the system responded with control measures. For outside observers, these events raised questions. Is the system stable long-term? Does generational change weaken centralized authority? Can ideological governance adapt to a digital age? Yet through every wave, the structure of leadership did not collapse. Khamenei's public appearances often emphasize themes of resistance, unity, and independence from foreign influence. His speeches frame domestic unrest within a larger geopolitical struggle. This narrative has helped maintain cohesion among loyal institutions. But time changes everything. Ali Khamenei is now in his mid-80s. And with age comes a question that shapes political futures. What happens after him? That question may be the most important unresolved issue in Iranian politics today. Leaders are rarely judged in their own time. Ali Khamenei's supporters see him as a guardian of revolutionary values, a figure who resisted external pressure and preserved national independence. His critics see a rigid authority figure who restricted reform and limited political freedoms. History will weigh both perspectives. What cannot be denied is the scale of his impact. Few individuals shape a nation's trajectory for over 30 years. Fewer still maintain centralized authority through economic sanctions, international isolation, and domestic unrest. Whether admired or criticized, his role in modern Middle Eastern geopolitics is undeniable. And yet, power, even consolidated power, is temporary. The real story may not be about how he ruled, but what happens when that era ends. Will the system tighten? Will it reform? Will it fracture? Those questions remain open. And until they are answered, Ali Khamenei remains one of the most consequential and closely watched figures in global politics. If you want deeper historical breakdowns of world leaders and the systems behind them, subscribe and stay with us. Because power is never simple, and history is never finished.